science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
For newcomers and old-timers alike, the Chloe Sanctuary hopes to give you insight into the health and happiness of your companion parrots. We hope to help you build happy homes using reliable and proven tools. The best homes are built on a rock-solid foundation. And the best foundation for a happy home is the bedrock of science. When we stand on the shoulders of giants, the scientists who have worked long and diligently to understand our companions, we can reach new heights of understanding. And understanding is the key to success.
I think treated, most of these birds have a good prognosis, and I would say in...
What does avian veterinary medicine have to tell us about our feathered friends? How can we prevent illness, see the signs of disease before it's too late, and care for our birds through ill health? What light does behavioral science shed on their nature, needs, and hopes? How can the tools of behavior shaping make our homes happier for us and our companions?
Shake.
How can we deal with biting, screaming, or other misbehavior? What is it like to live among parrots? Let them roam around about you and share a life with them. How much freedom do you give them? What happens if you form a bond of trust with them? Watch and see what understanding their true nature can do for you. Come with us on a journey as we do more than examine a parrot's world. We live in it. Make some popcorn and bring in a few wood blocks. Let everyone have something to chew and a comfortable place to perch. Cockatoo is a presentation of the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.
I'd like to do a big shout out to those people who make this video cast possible. Cockatoo would not be possible without our patrons. Thank you to those of you who make one-time donations. Without these patrons giving us of their hard-earned cash, we couldn't continue doing this podcast. Hi, and welcome to Cockatoos with Attitude, Episode 80, Fun with Parrot Enrichment. Yeah, we're going to give you some ideas about parrot enrichment today, and some general ideas. We'll talk about some specifics too. But one of the things that's important is to have fun with it. If you're not having fun with your bird, then something's not right. So we're going to, right, Bob?
Cocoa bird.
We give that Cocoa Bird toys, and the Cocoa Bird, she just doesn't want to play with them. Do ya? Do ya? We give them to you. We put different toys in there. We try different things, and you just ignore them. Hey, Pip, Pip. What you doing, Pip? What you doing, Pip? What you doing, Pippy? Yeah, and Pippy likes those toys. She likes, we have to buy those for her. She likes to chew them up. She didn't chew these wooden toys until recently. Right, Pip? She do now. Now. Now that Laurel Fly in there. Hey, Laurel Fly, what you doing? She's got some of the hanging toys, but she also has dangling ropes she likes to play with bits of sheet tied to them. She also likes these swings like that. This guy likes to chew the paper up. So you put paper down on his cage and he tears it all out of there. Don't you, Snowball? Don't you? Yep. But we keep trying different things, and that's fun. It's creative. So what's something different you can put in that cage? Right? The rest of them like music, but he's got to hear his Willie Nelson every day. Some of Roman's artwork right by the door. Yeah. He likes to make those. I like totem poles. What you doing, Roman Bird? You doing your sculptures? You doing your sculptures? You've been doing sculptures, haven't you? Yeah, look at that wood. Boy, he does sculptures, don't you? Don't you? Yeah, looks like we're going to have to replace that one. You ate all the wood off of it, didn't you? Yeah, you did, didn't you, Roman Bird? Huh? Did you, Rome? Yeah, Roman Bird. Yeah, Roman Bird. You're going to have to replace that wood soon, too. Look at that. You pretty much got it down to a odd-looking thing. Good for your feet, though, huh? Yeah, Sugar Bird likes the little things you can chew on, see? But we try new things, too. Never would have guessed you'd start chewing that ring. Took a while. Didn't it? I see you down there, Shug. I see ya. I see ya. You like a swing, too. There's one that likes the swing. Another one that likes the swing is the salamander. Salamander bird. Yeah, he gets the elevated toys like this because otherwise he'll break his tail feathers off. He does have this one to the side, though, don't you, boy? Yeah. Peaches, what you doing in your peachy cage? Yeah, you got your little thing here, do you? Do you? Yeah, Peach. Yep, and you got your different musical devices, don't you? A couple of pieces of wood. Takes you forever to go through those toys, doesn't it? You just have to change them out. Yeah. That's right, Peaches. Yeah, you're looking at me like, what are you taking video for? Hi, Peach. Hello. Hello, Peach. Yes, I know you want out. We'll get you out in a little bit, okay? Yeah, it's a good girl, Peaches. That's a good girl. Lucy, hey you. She likes her boings. She's especially fond of the little toys, though. And we keep trying little ones, making new ones, buying new ones. She likes the little ducks now, and the corn husks. She just finished that shoe. She's ready for a new shoe. This is the new toy. This is the new one we tried out. She is playing with it, aren't you? She pretty much didn't play with toys when she came here, though. It's an experiment every time. Give her something new and see if she gets interested in it and starts playing with it. She's ignoring it now. That's probably because she climbed around to the back of her cage, and she's got a big heavy cage, and I had to move it to get to her. Didn't I? Generally, in the night cages, we don't have too many toys. Dr. Jenkins doesn't hang toys in his birds' cages at night. They're just a place to sleep. But with Sugar, she does need something in there to keep her busy. And a few other birds have that issue. Another one with that issue. Hi, Bob, back there. It's Pippa. She needs some toys in her cage. She needs a boing and that kind of thing. And also the night cage where you're looking at, you can even hear this, where you're looking at Peaches. She has another little puppy piano and some small toys. She gets new toys every night. And Coco needs this kind of toy that keeps her from picking her feathers, along with other things. It's not just medicine that keeps them from doing that. You need to keep them busy and find things they can be interested in. That's her favorite toy. She goes through a lot of those things. Now, Babaloo, he'll take the wood off these things, and he doesn't really like the wood. He actually likes to take and slide up and down all the hard parts on these toys. I leave one that has wood in his cage and one without. And that's the way he likes it. He gets a little bit of paper at the bottom of his cage. He likes to tear that up. That toy was fully loaded over here in Cecil's night cage. And yes, it is indeed a round cage. And the reason being, and I'll show you, he has a round cage, and as you can see here, these are bead welds. See the thick metal around these welds? Well, he found a weak one, and you can see what I've had to do. I've had to clamp it and use tie wire to hold it together because he broke that bar off. All the way, he was going for the top and he almost had it. How did I know? I heard this noise in the morning before I got in here. I heard boing, boing, boing. I went, oh boy. And I knew it was him. If anyone's going to tear apart a cage, it's going to be Cecil. This is Bob though, right Bob? Testing out different things. I've tried this in a bunch of cages. As you can see, it's about ready to need to be replaced because she's chewed it up. Due to this, I've been able to lessen the amount of medicine that Lorelei takes because when she's in this cage, she's more interested in tearing this up, which is an unusual perch, but she likes it. Tried it with a couple of other birds and they ignored it, but she loves them, so she gets about one a week. Yep, you'll notice Bob's back in here. I've been working hard to get him back in. He was just went down a few days ago to have more surgery. His prolapse went again. This time it took 2 stitches. They'll do 2 as long as they can, then they do 3 stitches, then we go to the one where they sew everything up to his ribs. So he's really doing a lot better because of the aviary. And of course I've been working on enrichment and making sure he gets what he wants. So now he's here with me, aren't you, Bob? Yeah. So let's start with the definition of enrichment. Okay. And this is from the Wikipedia. Behavioral enrichment, closely related to environmental enrichment, is an animal husbandry principle that seeks to enhance the quality of captive animal care by identifying and providing the environmental stimuli necessary for optimal psychological and physiological well-being. Well, there's a mouthful, isn't it? Well, you might think of what it's like to be just bored to death and to be in a place that you're not comfortable with. I think one of my best examples is that, I'll give you one from my own life, okay? My first wife was absolutely afraid. She was horrified and afraid of hospitals. Didn't care much for doctors. So, she's about ready to have our child, and she wants to do it at home. So we found a doctor in San Diego who did home deliveries. And one of the things he said was that a home delivery, compared to one in the hospital, takes almost no time at all. He said the average home delivery is a couple of hours and it's all over with. Okay? In the hospital, it goes into, sometimes it goes into days. 24 hours, and then they have to induce. He said, that's because they're just not comfortable. If you're not comfortable in a place, you're not going to be able to have that child easily. It's going to be a problem. And so part of what we try to do is to make their environment, the place that they're living in, their home, feel comfortable to them. So feel like home. And also the other part of it, of course, is making things fun and keeping their minds engaged. These are not like dogs and cats. They have high intelligence and they get bored easy. So if you take that as a job, then it kind of, if you're looking at that just as work, it may not seem like fun to you. But keep in mind, there are people who do environmental enrichment for zoos and that kind of thing, and they do find it fun. So they find ways to make what they do fun. And we need to do that too. Right now, this little one wants to get on my trackpad, which I use to look at my notes while I'm going along. She's doing everything she can to get over onto my trackpad, and that's so I can't see what I'm doing. Aren't you, PJs? All right, I'm moving it again. Here we go. I'm moving the trackpad. Bob, no. Baba-loo, you don't need to mess with my trackpad. I'm going to move it because you keep bugging me. Bob, you can play over here. Now, from dictionary.com, the definition of fun: something that provides mirth or amusement, enjoyment or playfulness. Okay? So, we can bring out our creative side, and enriching their lives can also enrich ours. One thing you should find while you're enriching their lives is your own life lights up as theirs lights up. Right, Peach? Oh, that's a Peach. Look at that Peach. No, you can't have my trackpad. No, you can't. Yeah. She found it the first time I used it, and since then it's been it's been everything that she could possibly do to get a hold of it and mess with it. And I'm ending up moving it around. But if I have notes that I try to work off of, they'll eat the notes out of my hands. Sorry, Peach. So it makes sense to use that. Now, maybe I'll come up with something else at some point, but I just need to keep myself on track so I don't just wander off. I tend to digress. Don't I, Peach? Even the best parrot caretakers, the ones who do everything in their power to try to make their birds happy, won't find it possible in most cases to have their birds out all the time. For most of us, our responsibilities make that impossible. I try to get all these birds out at least 3 hours a day. That's the goal, bare minimum 3 hours a day. It gets complicated by like when Bob was having issues and he was fighting with the other birds. That meant he had to come out separately. So he didn't get as much time out, and I had to work with him to get him back. It helped a lot that we had the donor who gave us the aviary. So that helped a lot. And the mere fact that we had to put it together and make the base for it and all that got the old brain working. What can I do to make this better? Right, Bob? Right, Bob? What are you doing, you little monster? See, Lorelei's on my lap because Cause isn't in here. Cause isn't in here because Bob and Cause don't get along too well. Bob tolerates her now, but she doesn't tolerate him very much. So who we have with us today is Babaloo, Lorelei, Lucy, Pippa. She likes to be called Pip, and then Coco. And we have sleeping up there, wake up, is Sugarbird and Salamander. And we have one active Saram cockatoo, not eating my clothing, thank you, and 2 sleepy ones. What's with the sleepiness? They were active earlier, now they're... Well, you guys just look like you're zoned out. Pippa's not. She's ready to start causing all kinds of trouble, I can tell. Aren't you, Pip? Looking at Steve Jobs, you haven't done that in a while. Well, you're looking at him. You are, you cutie pie. Now, the nature of these birds, what they need in their lives and what they seek, makes it kind of ill-advised to leave them out unsupervised. A good example was Bob. He was rehomed 8 times in the first 11 years of his life. One of the places he went was to a businessman who took him to his office and then left him there unsupervised for an hour. When he came back, the keys were off the keyboards, the printers were torn apart, the place was a total mess. Bob was covered in printer ink. And of course, he brought him back and blamed Bob. Well, come on. I mean, these guys are intelligent, they need something to do, and you take a bird and you bring him, you hardly even know him, and you throw him in a place where he can tear everything up. Well, Bob thought he was at Disneyland, didn't you? Everything but Mickey Mouse. What are you doing? You're not going to eat my clothing, you little pest. You're just a little pest. You're a cute girl, but a little pest. She will take the threads out of my pockets, she'll cut holes in everything, she'll break my zippers, steal my buttons. Remember that. Yeah, you think it's funny, Bob, but she does. I have to buy far too many clothes because Lorelei has to eat them. Lorelei, and of course it's mating season, so you see what's going on here. Now the other thing is that the main bird room is bird-proofed. I mean, they're safe in there if you leave them alone. But that didn't stop Coco from eating her way through the hallway door. I had to replace the door because after about a month, she had eaten through it. At least where she could poke her head through. So these are hollow doors, not solid doors, but she had just worked her way through the door, so out it had to go and another one had to come in. So even if you have a bird-proofed room, you may find yourself in a situation where you still have a problem. The most important thing to do is to try to think outside the box, because they're going to get bored. We all get bored with the same daily routine, in and out. It's like factory workers and data entry people are the two people that go crazy in their jobs first, because they're just doing the same thing over and over and over, and it drives you crazy. These guys need a lot of stimulation. So if you have cockatoos, you can add a lot of stimulation fast, not this kind of stimulation. But you can add a lot of stimulation. You can put toys in there. You can get them to do a lot of things. You take them out, put them in a harness, take them out to the park, that kind of stuff. With parrots, you have to live a little with old world parrots, Amazons, anything that doesn't raise its crest, okay? You need to move a little slower because they're a little more nervous about change. So kind of think that you're moving in molasses, but that doesn't mean that you can't plan to make changes and get them a little bit more enrichment doing more things, okay? Some things you can add right away. Don't have to go after my trackpad every time. You don't. There's other things. You've got sticks. Oh, you want me to preen you? I should have known. So probably the easiest thing to do with a parrot is like start singing to them, because you're not really adding anything they're not used to other than your voice. Of course, if you're tone deaf, that might be a problem. I was recently at a meeting and there was a guy there who just thought, he had to have a loud voice to sing the national anthem, and he was flat. I mean, you want to talk about tone deaf? I have not heard anybody sing that. There goes Steve Jobs. Bob, no, it's all right. It's all right, Babaloo, it's all right. It's all right. No, it's all right, Bob. Babaloo, no. Bob, no. Babaloo, it's okay. It's all right, come back. Come on over here, Bob. Come on. Come on, leave her alone. Bob, leave her alone, and you don't need to be standing on my glass holder. Babaloo, calm down. Come here. Come here. Come here. A little guiding with a piece of wood. You don't need to go after her. She can fly if she wants to. She's a bird. And you don't need to be all room monitor about it, okay? See what's on your mind there. Stop it. Get over here and just be quiet, okay? That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Hey, no fighting, no fighting. You leave her alone. No, you leave her alone. Leave her alone. Bob. Calm down. The biggest problem we end up with is getting stuck in a rut. And that's one of the reasons we have, and I read this, it's an article written by an avian veterinarian where she suggested that you should always have, hi Pippa, you should always have a night cage and a day cage. And she gave medical reasons for having the day one and the night one. Primarily, the night cage is there to give them a different place to be where they know they're going to be sleeping, and it's away from the daily traffic. And also, it's a small enough cage that there's less chance of injury if they have a night fright. Okay? But the other part of it is that you're taking the bird from one cage to another and back to the cage. You're doing this move every day. So, in that process, what happens is the bird doesn't get stuck. A bird that's always in the same cage, life is boring, I'm stuck in the same place. You know how we get if we're stuck in a job we don't like, and it's just we're stuck there all the time. Get up and you're at the imagine living at your job. Imagine just living at a job. And that's it. You wake up at the job, you do your job, you go to sleep there. It wouldn't be much fun. Well, some people do that with home employment, where they work at home. They have their own business at home. That's a little different because they have the right to go off and do something else, and they can rearrange their time. These guys can't do that, so it helps to have that second cage. Bob? Oh, okay, gotta go to the bathroom. All right, go ahead. He just had his surgery, so I gotta kind of watch this. Look, that came out okay, Bob. Good boy. Yeah, you were such a good boy at the vet too. Just my good boy. Now, easy. Bob just desperately wants to get close to her. They're the same species, and she doesn't want anything to do with any other bird. She's always going after the other birds and giving them a little bit of trouble, aren't you? Yeah, she doesn't hurt anybody, but she threatens them. I'm afraid she'll get hurt. because she's threatening. So I keep an eye on her pretty close, don't I, girl? Yeah, don't I? Bob, here you go pulling the hairs on my arm again. Will you stop that? No, you won't? I'm not surprised. You know, as an aside, it's also, when you have night and day cages, you put them in their night cage, and then you go clean their day cages. That makes it real easy. You're not having to take the bird out, clean the cage, and put the bird back in. That happened with Bob, and he developed a tendency to nip and lunge at people, because that's the only way he got to stay out. And when he was in between going to the next place that would reject him, right, Bob? Now, you guys don't fight. I know you're trying to be nice to her. You just want to bring her. I know, Bob. She doesn't understand. You can see the feathers on the back of Bob's neck going up. And the reason for that is there's a little bit of an aggression issue coming up. He's not sure if she's going to snap at him, so... It's kind of like being in the 10th year of marriage. Now, the nice thing, too, about having the two cages is that you can make the trip between the cages fun. For example, with Cecil, I sing his song, you know, his Cecil the Cockatoo song. I sing that. But other times I'll sing other stuff, too, you know, songs that I know, which I can't do because of copyright violation, but I'll sing other stuff to him. And then we'll play sometimes. I will go straight to his cage. We'll go to a perch and we'll do a couple of step-ups or whatever, and we'll play a little bit, and then I'll take him to his cage. I try to make it different, so some days it may just be straight to the cage with a little talking to. Other times there's a little more interaction. I try to change it up quite a bit. If you vary it, it makes it more interesting to them, and they're kind of looking forward to it. Exceptions. Sugar. If she wants to go to her night cage, she wants to go to her night cage. She doesn't care about anything else. So once you get there, she wants you to rub her beak, don't you? And she likes a little bit of peanut butter on a craft stick as a treat, don't you? Yeah, you do. I know you do. Now, since we're talking about enrichment, you want to get ideas. And get that old brain turning, those wheels turning. What can I do? It doesn't have to be terribly expensive. Example, if you take Bob here, Babaloo, he likes an almond once in a while, so if you wrap it up in a coffee filter and crinkle it together, he opens the coffee filter, takes it out. That extra step of digging through the coffee filter he likes, and then when he's done, he plays with the coffee filter. Don't you? But it doesn't have to be a coffee filter. There's a lot of other things that you can use. So you can find other things that you can put it in. For example, something like this. You can put, that's got an almond in it right now, not like any bird's going to be able to get the almond. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. But you can put pine nuts in it or something like that, and they'll shake them to get them out. But if you want a lot of ideas, a lady named Chris Porter has 2 books she wrote. They're free. You just download them from parrotenrichment.com. You can also see that in our show notes out at YouTube. She's got 2 great books, lots of ideas, lots of things you can do. It'll make it so you don't have to have any excuses. I can't afford it, okay? Also, you can check out our episode on making toys, so that you can make a toy that you could buy for $25, or you can make that toy for $1.50 to $2. That's kind of fun. Get out there, cut wood, drill it. It's not that hard to make them. You make a piece of wood, you cut a triangle just by flipping the word, cutting it at 45, flipping it, and then drill a hole through it. Then run a piece of 2mm chain through there. Use a 3/8 drill bit. Get a bunch of things you can string between it. You get beads, and you get these things, and a lot of other little things like that. And then you can tie the palm fronds that are woven together. You can tie those on there. They have them in colors. They also have them in plain. But that book will give you a ton of good ideas, and our video will help you there too. So, but get off the trackpad. Would you leave it alone, please? I don't want you playing with my trackpad. And again, thinking outside the box will make it better for you and better for them. It's getting colder here in California. I know you guys think we never have anything cold, but it's getting into the 60s. I have Raynaud's disease, which means that my fingers can't lose circulation when it gets cold. And by cold, I mean 68 degrees or lower. Sometimes even 70 degrees will do it. And you can actually get gangrene from being outside in 60-degree weather. So, all right, you two, no fighting. Let's not square off. Let's not do that. You don't need to square off with Bob. So, volunteers coming over to make toys. And so I thought it was a good chance. It was 72 outside, so I thought it was a good chance to try putting the birds in the aviary and leaving them in there with us just like 5 feet away, sitting at a table making toys. So, Baba Lou, no. Peppa, go. No, you go sit up. Peppa, go sit up here. Go on. There you go. That's right, Peppa. Coco's going to comment on that if you keep it up. She's fluffing over there. She will. You calm down now, Bob? Okay. How are you doing, Luce? Alright. So, we're out there making toys, and of course I've got a super soaker. I don't use positive punishment, which means adding something to reduce or extinguish a behavior, okay? It's positive because you're adding something, and it's punishment because you're reducing or extinguishing a behavior. Doesn't have anything to do with the usual terms you hear. Punishment isn't hitting someone with a stick. Punishment is anytime you're trying to reduce or extinguish a behavior. So sometimes you can do that by positive punishment can literally be adding something that they don't like in their environment to get them out of an area, okay? So like if you don't want them coming in a certain area and you put something they're afraid of there, that would be positive punishment. You're not hurting them, but they won't go there because they don't like that item, whatever it is, okay? So the idea there is to sit and see what they do. It also breaks their pattern because so many of them come and just sit on me. And I have to kind of try to move them out into the aviary and toss them in there, and then they come back. Yeah, I can toss them because they can fly. So if you go like this, they just fly over to wherever. They don't mind it at all. Lorelei doesn't mind it, do you, Lorelei? What she does mind is if you squirt her, though. She does not like to be hit with water. She takes a great bath when she chooses, but only when she chooses, right, Lorelei? You're half asleep there, kid. So that was a totally different situation for them. And it took them about 2 hours to realize that I wasn't coming in and to start moving throughout the aviary and doing more in there, not being so focused in one spot. And they got comfortable pretty fast. So then you add new toys. You hang some new toys in there, things to get their attention, and draw them away from where you are. Get them to do things on their own. With cockatoos, you teach them to play by themselves. With parrots, you teach them to step up and sit on you with old world parrots. Because old world parrots are more likely to not want to be on you. And these guys, you're like a magnet to a cockatoo. What are you getting into, Pippa? Pippa, leave my cameras alone. Pippa? Pippa, you're sitting in front of the camera. That's better, Pip. She'll cause the camera to lose its focus because they autofocus. So, well, I've got one more camera pointing down, so that won't be a big deal. So, whenever you think, well, I've done this before, and we've done that before, we've done this, and we've done that, if you get one of those free books, the Parrot Enrichment Activity books, if you just look through those PDFs, there's a ton of ideas in there, things you can do to make it so these guys aren't bored. So you can be like on Star Trek. You can go where no one has gone before and do something different. Right, Bob? Now, if you see, let's say you've got a bird that's, every chance it gets, it's eating the molding on your doors. Okay? Great. That's wonderful. Now you can try to think of new wood experiences you would both like. Okay? You can see our toy making episode on that. Or the other thing is you can start thinking, wait a minute. They go over to the door, they're chewing on this. What can I do to change that? Pippa, stay away from the camera, please. Pippa? Pippa girl. Pip, pip, pip. You're just going to block the camera. I gotta move this now. Bob, don't cause any trouble. Here we go. I had to move her. If I didn't move her, you guys wouldn't be able to see Bob. Right? So, you think, what can I put over by the door so the bird's sneaking over to the door all the time? You find the area where the bird goes and you put up something that's made from wood molding. You get some molding down at Home Depot or something like that and nail it to the door. What I did was put 2x4s there. What a great rouse. Good boy. Great rouse. Yeah. Well, it was. So I put 2x4s there. I took the molding off and put up a 2x4, and then they go over there and chew the 2x4. Most people don't want to do that because they don't want to make their home look, silly. But hey, these guys, they're going to chew wood. You're not going to stop that. They're going to find some way to do it. And if you do restrict them, that could cause other psychological problems. You could end up with a bird that mutilates itself. That will only be the cue for it. The reason for self-mutilation, for feather-destructive behavior, is not you. You can add a little bit of stress and it may come out. The reason is because of these breeders and the way they incubate these guys in incubators, and they never get to meet their parents. They miss all these steps in their development. That's where it really comes from. You can see our episode 14. Dr. Jenkins explains all that. So what other things can you do to enrich their lives and also make your life fun? Okay? Now, when I was talking about the molding, that can be fun. Like putting that stuff up and watching them go after that 2x4 and thinking, I've got the molding in the closet. They're not eating it. And you can actually enjoy watching them chew the 2x4. After a while, though, they will get bored with it. You can put the molding back up if you want. I didn't put the molding back up myself, but you can. And you can come up with games, and you can work out games with the bird. Snowball, for example. Like to play with little plastic lids off jars. You'd throw them, he'd go get them and bring them back. So I kept throwing them farther and farther, and then I tried... Uh-oh, someone's got a feather that has to come off there. Don't you, Shug? She's losing a feather. Yeah, it's old and ready to come out, I'm sure. So what I did is I got the little mini Frisbees, and then I bought a package of 10 of the big Frisbees. And after a while, we just kept playing, and I would throw it farther and farther, and then he started getting up on top of the cages, and I would throw it up to him on the cage. He would catch it and throw it back to me. Snow, you want to bring it over here? Sorry. I'm just trying to do this with the camera at an angle, and it's tough to do. Good catch. Good catch, Snowball. Can do another one? Another catch? Almost. There we go. Oops. Let's try a red one. Let's try this red one. Come on, Snow. You can do it. Good catch. Good toss, Snow. Ready? You ready for another one? You ready? Okay, here we go. Good catch, Snow. This evolved over time, became a game. You'll find that when you're doing this, that the bird will develop some rules that you didn't expect. One rule that Snowball has is if he thinks he's bitten you, because he gets real hyper when he's playing, he'll stop playing. You can say you're not hurt, you can say it's okay, he won't pay any attention to you. If he thinks he bit you, that's the end of the game. Chloe and I had a game that worked out over time. It started out as she would get up on top by a cage. I had a little small cage up there, just a little cage for her to sit on. And I would take a toy and try to throw it past her, and she would grab it. And to stop me from getting it past her, the game was not to get the toy past Chloe. She was the goalie, okay, to stop the toy. And then she started running over. There was a little door for the paper on the printer. So she would catch it, toss it back to me, go over there and flip the door down. If you tried to play and actually take that little toy and get it past her before she flipped the door down, that was the end of the game. She wouldn't play with you anymore because you broke the rules. Okay? So yes, they do come up with rules. Yes, you think that's funny? It's true though, Bob. They come up with rules and you better play them. by the rules. Because if you don't, you might stop playing the game, or they may just tell you they're unhappy in other ways. And you can play games without toes. Good, Pippa. You can play games without toys too. Snowball, for example. Snowball and I. Hey, Bob. Let's see your stitches. Let's take a look at your stitches. They're looking okay today. Looking okay. Yeah. Snowball, he started it, but I'm like taking him to his night cage, and I cocked my head to the side like this, and he cocks his head the other way at the same time. So I move my head back, and then so we're going like this. He's going this way, I'm going this way. So we're doing this. This is a game I play with Snowball. We call that the head weaving game, or I call that the head weaving game. Bob and Cecil and I will play the dog game, which is I'll bark, row, row, and then Bob will bark, and then Cecil will bark, and we'll get into barking back and forth. So we play the dog barking game. They also have games that they play amongst themselves. Lorelei and Cecil play the game of imitating the humans. So Cecil will go, and then Lorelei will go, and they'll go back and forth like that, and it's just like two people arguing. Or having an animated conversation. It's hilarious. But they have a game like that. And I can play that game with Lorelei and with Cecil on occasion. They'll let me kind of get in that game too. Which is kind of odd because they're actually imitating humans. Now, Cause and Lorelei also play the flying game, which is good because it's also recall training. We have a donor that I go to see not too far from here, and she has this huge house, so we'll get on one side, and I'll have the bird on the other side. We're talking 20 feet away, okay? And I'll put my arm out and say, Cause, and Cause will fly all the way over and then go right past me and land on something soft. Cause likes to land on soft things rather than landing on me. Lorelei flies right over like that too. Lorelei, you want to come over? Lorelei? No, Bob's here. Bob's here, you don't want to come over? Okay. One of these days she'll do that on video. She does it all the time, but when the video's running, yeah, she doesn't. Now there's regular games to play. I play the head game with Snowball pretty regularly. I do the one with Cecil where I do his song. I do that every day, twice a day at least. In the morning when he's going from one cage to the other, at night when he's going from one cage to the other. And then there's the intermittent games. A good example is with Roman. He likes the Let Roman Get Soaking Wet game. And he gets that about twice a week. It's a game to him where I can spray him down till he's just totally soaked, and he loves that. And he'll say, I love you, and he'll move his wings all around while you're spraying him. So we do that a couple of times a week. The intermittent games are good, the ones you don't play every day, because it changes things up, and they get more interested. Rome gets all excited. Got one, Peach. He gets all excited when we're playing that, shower game. He would probably like it every day. The problem with an everyday schedule is that after a while it's not going to be as exciting for him. Doing something all the time tends to weaken its effect. So you should have some intermittent games that you play sporadically, and then games that you play every day. Right, Bob? Bob? With Bob, the upside down game, especially because of his prolapse, we play the upside down. You want to play upside down game for me with, well, now you want to dig? Alright, I don't want to get him upset, so. He's doing well. He's back in here for these videos. That's a good thing, right, Bob? Hello, Peach. If you're playing games with your birds, mix them up a little bit. Move the location. If you usually sing to them in the kitchen, just do it in the living room one day. Get them in an aviator harness and go out and dance and sing with them outside. Wear a silly hat or a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, be careful with that one though. Some birds don't like hats, and some birds don't like you to wear unusual clothing. But sometimes they find it fun. So you have to be careful not to break their trust too while you're doing that. So you want to try to think like a great behaviorist, like Dr. Susan Friedman of behaviorworks.org, or Jennifer Sellex, who wrote the book Animal Training 101, and she's an animal trainer and a teacher. Try to mix that attitude, what can I best come up with that will enrich their lives, along with comedians like Jim Carrey or Steve Martin or Buster Keaton. Okay? You can even do magic tricks for these guys. Get some of these little magic tricks you can do. The one with the balls where you make the balls appear between your fingers, that's cool. I think they can figure out how you're doing it, though. The average person won't be able to figure that out, but they kind of can, they're better at that kind of thing. In research done in Austria, they've got dolphins that can figure out when you're doing the shell game where the treat is under which one of the shells. It's amazing. Even though you've mixed it all around, they know. But they like it anyway. It's kind of fun, isn't it? It's like foraging. It's part of their behavioral pattern, foraging, so knowing where things are. Do you have a guitar you haven't played in a while? Try singing, learn a song, or remember how to play a song, and sing it for them. Or just play the guitar. You play the piano? Bring the bird over and play the piano for them. Do something different. Okay? A lot of people know that you can have them forage for food in their cages. You can hide food in different places and put them in coffee filters and hide food here and there. Move their food bowls around, that kind of thing. That's all good, but adding some little spice to their life. Take them out. Take them out, and I took Chloe to Queen Califia in Escondido, and we had a good time walking around looking at all the stone statuary, and I took pictures of her there, and she just enjoyed the whole trip, and so did I. Got me out, got me doing something, and then Chloe got to see something new and meet new people. Especially cockatoos like to meet new people. Keep in mind, though, that some people are not going to be good with birds, and you may not want to let other people handle your birds. Check the laws in your state and know your bird well enough to know, if there's going to be, if your bird might nip, because some people might sue you if your bird nips them. There's a story. The Dalai Lama was going to speak to a group of academics. I can't remember where, and you can imagine what that would be like. They're not going to be jumping up and down and screaming and clapping and that kind of thing, right? There are people who are there to learn, and they're studious people. And someone gave the Dalai Lama a Groucho Marx mask, okay, and he put it on, and of course the whole audience laughs, and he laughs too. So again, the friend that gave him that gave him the opportunity to walk out into the world and have a little fun. And everybody appreciates it, right? And you may find your bird will do things that you didn't think were possible if you just play with them a little bit more and try different things. Take them with you when you can. A good example. I take birds, one bird at a time, but one bird at a time to Home Depot when I go to buy wood to make their toys. I take a bird with me. And it's funny because one of the checkers has an Amazon, and she sees me coming and she wants to pet whatever bird it is, and she talks about her bird. But Home Depot has no problem. Some places will let you do that. You probably won't have much luck trying to do that with a grocery store, but some stores will let you bring them in. And we also have a hardware store in town, and I can take these guys in there. So when I need to pick up some little hardware item, I take a bird with me. A bird. A Bob? Oh, Bob's a bird. Bob, are you a bird? He says, right now I'm just a toothpick maker. So it's more than just toys. It's more than just setting up their cages. It's the time you spend with them and the different things you try to do, the way you vary their lives so they're not doing the same thing all the time, but yet they still have their little fun things that they like. They're getting personal enrichment with you, doing things on a daily basis, and then the intermittent kind of things that make life more interesting. They are never quite sure what is going to happen, so they're kind of looking around. Just don't let them get bored. You don't want to be bored. They don't want to be bored. So have fun with your enrichment activities. Be careful with your Groucho Marx mask, though. Some birds don't like masks. And if you're wearing a hat, some birds don't like hats. Other birds will just go, oh, cool, something to eat. Peach, you want to say goodbye to the people? Come on, Peaches. Come on, Peaches. Peaches, you want to say goodbye to the people and tell them, become a patron. Can you say that? Can you say, become a patron? We'd appreciate it if you could find it in your hearts to give us $1 an episode. We do 2 episodes a month, and that would really help us out, wouldn't it, Peach? Yeah. Tell them. Tell them. You go through 25 pounds of food a week, don't you guys? Yeah. And $125 a 25-pound container, right? Tell them, Peaches, become a patron. Give us $1 an episode. It'll really help us out, right, Peach? Right, Peach? You're so quiet, Peaches. Is that right? Lorelai, is that right? Bob, is that right? Jeez, nobody will say anything. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
We welcome your feedback on our videos. We look forward to your insights, tips, questions, stories, and pictures. You can email us at cockatoo@chloesanctuary.org, reach us on Twitter @Chloe Sanctuary, and join with us on our Facebook Chloe Sanctuary page.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.